All right. We'll go ahead and clap. And I do it on 0.
Right.
So it's going to be 3, 2, 1.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll just reclap it.
Right at the optimal time.
Perfect.
It was like we summoned him like a genie or something.
It was my clap. He came at my clap.
Something's messed up with his camera, apparently. Oh, there he is. Oh, it was facing the wrong direction. That was what it was.
You guys recording already?
No, actually, we literally, as we clapped, you logged on.
We clapped.
Like we summoned you.
You know when you like I worked outside all day today.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna take a quick 20-minute nap before the podcast.
Oh,
And I set an alarm.
I can't do that.
I was so fucking tired though.
Maybe if I've got like an hour or something. Well, don't worry. You just sit back, let it happen.
Sit back, relax.
That's right.
We'll take it from here.
Think of England.
Wait, what?
The good news is I'll be ready here in 10 seconds. Okay.
Oh, it's a role-playing game?
There we go. That sound okay?
It sounds good here.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's great.
All righty. Let's reclap.
Yeah, I guess
we
so.
probably should.
Let me call it?
Yep.
Why am I not recording again? What the hell happened?
That's what we're all wondering.
Okay, in 1 second. Okay, ready? Sorry.
Ready.
Man,
One,
we're ready.
2, 3.
Wonder who else will show up if 4 of us do it.
Mine doesn't actually do it anymore, so I don't even know why I clap.
I know. I have to find you every time.
3
You got
minutes,
like some sort of
54 seconds.
All right. You've got like some kind of weird noise gating.
I don't know. What
I've
to
got
tell
the same microphone as Homeboy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
Also, do not know. Oh. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game by Show podcast. I'm a little hot. 1 second. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. It's the Game by Show podcast. It's August the 29th, 2021, and all 4 of us are here again recording the show for all y'all to listen to. I said y'all because Jared's now a part of our show. Jared Dunn. Hey, Jared.
Howdy.
Howdy.
I had to follow up by not saying y'all. So howdy is what I went with.
This is a bilingual effort. We speak Texan and American here.
That's right.
Absolutely.
The good language and then American.
Jeremy Lamont also here with us as
Hey,
per normal.
everybody. That's right. As prophecy foretold.
And in case you didn't get enough of LeGrand Dale solo content last week, there's Dale Jones for
We're
you.
back.
Hello, Dale.
Hello.
We're back. So it's Sunday again, guys. Here we are. What's new? Anything?
Well, I tell you what, after traveling, it's downright autumnal here. I am ready for fall, which is I feel like I liked autumn before it got popular.
Were you like cold when you got back
likes
here?
It now. No, well, not cold, but I was like, this is bearable.
Oh yeah, St. Louis would be much more warm.
Muggy.
Yeah,
muggy too.
Yeah. Well, it was actually pretty nice today outside. I was outside all day.
I mean, like yesterday was probably the closest. Maybe today. closest we've had to fall, it was still in the mid 90s, and it was just excruciatingly humid.
Here's the facts. Even though it was nice, I stayed indoors anyway, so it was all the same to me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's really for the best, honestly.
I aim for consistency, if nothing else. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay in today.
Well, here in
Just like-
Oregon, we're looking at another 4 or 5 days of, highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s. So I like it
Yes.
here.
Sending all your wildfires down
Yeah,
this
that
way.
sounds fantastic.
That does sound
Yeah.
good.
Is it burning? Is Oregon burning right now? Is that the problem?
I think somewhere there's probably a wildfire, but the one that was making news a couple of weeks ago, which was called the bootleg fire, they eventually got that one, like 100% contained. But then it takes like another month for it to finally burn out or whatever, right? But to answer your question, no, there's not a lot of smoke or anything, at least not around here.
Well, we get all the secondhand smoke in Utah from California, Washington, Oregon.
That really
So-
sucks. Yeah, I mean we've gotten it before, definitely. About a year ago, actually, it was really bad for like a week. It was like just real nasty outside. Yeah, no, we're close enough here to the ocean that we are blessed with its winds.
That's nice. Yeah, we basically it was legit. We had the most smoke I've ever seen in my life in the valley a couple weeks ago, and it was also raining as hard as it's ever rained in Utah the same day, and it did nothing to change the quality of
So
the
we're
air.
like partway between the northwest that's on fire, the southeast that's underwater, and we just get a little bit of both, and it's
Yeah.
just like a nice
yeah,
soup.
I was about to say,
It was
it's-
horrible because normally, like in the wintertime, we get bad air quality here in Salt Lake as well. But usually when there's a storm, like it clears out. Like that's what it takes because it's part of the air pressure or whatever. But when it's smoky in the valley, no, it's not even the rain, not even the storm gets that shit out. It's like
Smoke in
S-
the
I'm about to say
I don't know-
Smokey
I
in
don't
the
know what
Valley. I love that band.
we had to cancel football practice multiple times, and my son's football games were canceled because the air quality was so bad that being outside was just unhealthy for anyone. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
I
how
think
the
Utah.
grand,
In
like-
fact, Salt Lake, my city, Harriman, which I live in a suburb of Salt Lake City, had the worst air quality in the entire planet a couple weeks ago on that day. It was horrible.
Man.
That is why.
I was gonna say, I like LeGrand throwing in his subtle brag of like, I'm a football
saying.
coach, and
Yo, coaches, we had to make the call for the health of our players.
we told them to get out there, but like this guy said we could.
Hey, I have embraced the football coaching lifestyle, guys. Okay, I even got
you
like a
wear
whistle
those, like,
around my neck.
those like really
Tackle
stretchy
dummies.
shorts that are really short. You put
we
a
do have
clipboard in
tackle
the back.
dummies.
Yeah.
I'm wearing one of those. I'm wearing some stretchy shorts right now. Yeah, it's great.
Dang.
Look, this is why we consider this podcast sort of a public service for everybody in the country to not be going out doing those things. We're here for you. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. Don't
We
feel
here
bad.
for you. We here
Don't
for
feel
you.
bad. We'll let you know how it is when we
right.
get out.
That's right.
Like if you don't want to leave your house, like Jeremy, every once in a while, go somewhere and he'll let you know how it is.
Dude, I went outside today.
I
and
participate in sports things, so you don't have to. They're pretty okay, I guess.
I went outside today. I cleaned a bird bath and I participated in a sport
Clean the
thing.
bird bath.
I hosted an online medieval
I can
tournament.
hear Jared's wife now. Jared, you said you were going to clean that bath weeks ago. You
Mm-mm.
haven't cleaned the bird bath.
Now, she couldn't give a shit. But my 8-year-old, she has been yelling at me for months. Papa, this bird bath's really dirty. Look, kids,
Fine.
you want a
Yeah,
clean
Listen,
bird bath? You go do
I
it
have a
yourself.
scheduled cleaning set up, my annual cleaning set up for August 29th. Okay, I will make sure and get
There's
out there.
a
and clean the
threshold.
bird.
When there's 4 dead birds around, then I go clean it.
Whoa.
When you start having low-level RPG encounters around the bird bath, you
That's
know that the corruption has spread.
Oh shit. Cool, man.
Well, I fixed
Hey.
a couple of kitchen drawers today.
Wow, we
That's
all know
handy.
stuff.
You know,
Wow.
drawers. You know how they got those tracks that the rollers are on. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
like, at the back of the tracks, there's like this.
There's like that
plastic
little lip
bracket
thing.
thing. And those plastic bracket things, I'm sure they were original with our house, which is like 30 years old now. So they were just like brittle old plastic and it busted. And so I looked up like, what are these things? Where can I get them? They were in Home Depot and they were like in a drawer on like aisle 22.
They were
and
back
like,
on one where the rollers were busted and you couldn't get them out.
Yeah, basically. But they were like $1.15.
They were
each.
on the display.
And he found out they
I
weren't
just tore
actually
the
broken.
display
It
off.
it was a spoon that had like poked up, so that when he poked in the
that's
drawer,
the
it got
worst.
stuck. It wasn't even the drawer glides. He just had like
Yeah.
a ladle in there that was just causing havoc.
But I got
man.
to play with my electric, drill, so that was fun.
Wow.
Nice.
See, there's few
Yeah.
things more like dadly than that,
All right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna break
yeah.
out I'm gonna flex my dadness on y'all. I rented a sod cutter from Home Depot
Whoa.
and cut some sod in my backyard because
Whoa.
we're putting a shed in.
I feel like you might have been
cut
wearing
out
plaid
a big
shorts
chunk
when
of
that
sod.
happened.
This is like a huge power tool effectively
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
cuts
yeah.
out sod. That's what I did today. It was a
Amazing.
thing.
Wow.
That's masculine.
Yeah.
Gosh.
You know what else I did today?
What's
I played some video games.
What?
Nice.
Shut up.
did
You
you?
did not.
And I'll tell you, the game that I did play today is not the game I'm going to talk about. But I'm sorry, not sorry. I did play a game over last week or so that came out, guys. A new game. When was the last time this happened on this show?
It depends on how new Hunt Showdown or Final Fantasy 14 are.
You're
About to say,
absolutely
does
right.
Final
But that was
Fantasy
the last
14
November,
have a new
we're gonna be
expansion?
new
Someone
again.
go check.
Yeah.
Oh, November. Listen, November will be the next time I talk about a new game on this
Battle
show.
Sector. That was a new game.
Oh, yeah,
Ooh,
Battle
that was
Sector.
good.
I played that
I
recently.
talked about the Ascent.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I talk about new
so
things
did I.
every week. So
Okay,
at least
Jeremy,
someone
let's
is
not
bringing
get
it.
carried away with the crap you talk about.
All right, so I picked up Aliens Fireteam Elite. I think I sort of said on the podcast I was going to maybe pick this game up, right?
Right.
Well, I did.
I don't recall that.
I
but
did.
And which of the dichotomy of Aliens games does it join?
This is Aliens, Aliens, the second
Right.
one.
Okay.
It's basically Left 4 Dead if there was like a coherent linear campaign with like a story arc, and B, if the aliens were the zombies were aliens,
right.
and
That sounds pretty all right.
and C,
So it's co-op.
that's basically it. Yes, 3-player co-op, Aliens Left 4 Dead, Aliens Fireteam Elite, which I keep on, the name is super dumb.
Yeah, kind of
Fireteam,
generic.
yeah, me and Dale, we had this conversation last week. Like
That's a bad
Fireteam
name.
Elite, dumb. You can, there's probably like 10 games that are named Fireteam Elite. Well,
Yeah.
this is Aliens Fireteam Elite.
Fireteam
so it's
Elite
way
Dangerous.
different. It's way different. So yeah, the thing that kind of made me want to get this game is, well, first of all, Aliens, the movie, is one of my probably top 5 movies of all time. I've watched it dozens of times, if not 100 times total. Like, I've watched it so many times. I know everything that happens in order. I can quote almost the whole movie. I'm pretty good. I've watched a lot of Aliens. Okay, so I'm kind of in to that franchise in general. Aliens is the one I've spent the most time
But Alien
watching.
3 is your favorite.
Is that the one where she
No.
has babies with an alien?
Like plays basketball.
Alien 3 isn't as bad as you think, but it's not as good as Aliens. And Alien is good. Alien is the horror, right? Aliens is the action. Alien 3 is the prison movie.
Alien Resurrection.
Alien 4 we forget about. And then
Okay,
it goes the Prometheus and Alien Covenant that are... Alien Covenant's really good.
You know,
Prometheus
I
is
remember
kinda weird.
Prometheus. Yeah, I remember.
We went and
liking
watched that in the
Prometheus.
theater, didn't we?
Yeah,
Didn't
we
watch
did,
that?
and I think I remember liking it at the time. And now the more distance I have, I'm like, nah.
Do you remember how
Yeah.
good the video game Alien vs. Predator was?
Yeah.
Like which one? It seems like they've had a whole bunch of.
All of
Yeah,
them.
I don't know, like the
AVP.
good one, the
All
one
of
everyone
them?
thinks about when they think of good
So,
games.
like the Rebellion, like year 2000.
I don't know, man.
One
That
where,
game
you,
was so
where it was
good.
like it was like the 3 different
yeah,
races you could be in the multiplayer. And
yeah,
you could be humans,
aliens, the
Predator,
Marines, and the Predator.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
that was a good game.
That was a good game.
So-
I did play that, yeah.
So Aliens Fireteam Elite, the thing that they nail is they nail aliens. Like the sound.
What about the fire
sound
teams
design
and the
is
elite?
on point, and that's very, very important with an aliens game. Like when you're out there and you have your pulse rifle, it sounds like a pulse rifle. The smart rifle sounds like a smart rifle, and the thing that they do a little bit differently in this game, I guess, compared to Left 4 Dead, is you actually have 4 different classes that you can choose from that have different weapon loadouts that they can use and different skills and perks. So there's got like this like a perk / skill system that you can use, and so you have kind of like a cooldown to be able to throw bombs or grenades or like launch like predator missiles out of your shoulder missile cannon at zombies, or sorry, aliens. I get the two confused. They're so similar, but
Yeah.
it's it when you get in there and you're just mowing down aliens and you're taking acid damage because the acid's spraying all over you when you kill one up close, and suddenly you make some noise and you have like a little motion sensor that's just on all the time, so you know the little tapping sound from the Aliens movie that's like you just know, and Hudson just knows there's aliens over there and they're in the walls and the ceilings, and
Oh man.
and
Wait,
that
do you have those characters?
no.
Oh,
But
you
all
just-
but all of those things, like so the guns,
Right.
the aliens, the motion detector sounds, the acid spraying, like everything just makes it feel like an Aliens game. Like Aliens, period, right? And so then couple that with you're actually in the action, and now you're playing Left 4 Dead, except for the zombies are aliens, and you have those moments where like, okay, shit's gonna go down here. You gotta, turn that generator on and make all the aliens mad. And they're all gonna come at you for a few minutes. So that all happens. They jump out of walls and ceilings and get you. There's like separate type of like super aliens, kind of like in Left 4 Dead, how there's like the smoker and the blow up guy, and those
There's a
types of
dog.
things.
I was gonna say I don't really remember
not a
that
dog
from the
alien.
movies, but I think I watched the movies all of one of times. So
Yeah, in the movies they really didn't know what they were getting into, right? At least in Aliens, right? So they were just showing up and like, okay, we got to go rescue the juicy colonist daughters from their virginity, right? That's what they were there to do, because they were just there to on a bug hunt, right? They make reference to this, and so there's not really this special type of alien, but for gaming this thing, you effectively know about aliens, so you're in the part of the universe and the part of the story where you know what aliens are, and there's things going down and scientists experimenting, and Wayland Yutani's there, and things are bad, and so you're kind of sent on this mission to go and find the scientist and there's like some space station that kind of shit went bad, and so you're there to do things. Anyway, there's a whole storyline that happens across like 4 acts that you kind of are playing through, and I've only played through maybe 3 of the actual story missions, because I kept on having friends log back on, and we would play the first few again because they hadn't played it yet. So it's completely co-op.
Now, is this a game like so many games that have pretty decent kind of like, I don't want to say decent, but they have like stories that nobody actually does, because it like every time you jump in quick match, it like throws you into a different part of the story.
Like someday somebody decides to skip the cinematic thing, and
you can
Left 4
choose.
Dead was that way, right? So is Vermintide 2.
You can choose your mission though.
Well,
yeah, you can say I'm on this mission. I'm going to play this mission. Start, and then it'll matchmake you and bring.
And then it matchmakes you in that specific mission. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not bad.
And in the difficulty that you select. So there's multiple levels of difficulty. Again, you're picking your loadout, so you're picking your character class that has a different types of abilities. Like only one class can use that smart rifle that Vasquez uses in the movie.
That thing's so cool.
And then there's like a pistol class. There's a class with like shotguns. There's a class with just a standard pulse rifle, and they all have their own different varied abilities that they can use. You unlock different attachments for your weapons. And so you can make them better. You level up your weapons, which gives you access to slots that there's the whole like gear out system. There's a whole RPG system that you're kind of equipping perks and things like that. And then your missions, you can start them up with these modifiers. And I know that Back 4 Blood kind of did that too. And it seems like they're similar in that regard, where like one time we got on and my buddy equipped this one that made the default aliens, like the default fodder alien, like that's just all over the place. Every alien, they made him like way harder, like more difficult. They took way more shots to take down. They were quicker. They would jump on you and attack you, and it made it incredibly more difficult. We made it through barely, but it drastically changed the way that the game played. So there's those modifiers, and I know that Left 4 Dead 2 did that later on. Back 4 Blood has that now, and this game also
I feel like
has
people
that.
have stopped talking about Back 4 Blood.
Because it's not out yet.
Yeah, it was only in beta at the time.
Okay.
So
I thought it was out, and it was just like,
No.
Next month, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right there.
and it was Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. Anyway, so Aliens Fireteam Elite. If Left 4 Dead with aliens, if you're a fan of aliens, first of all, if you're a fan of aliens, period, and even if you don't like Left 4 Dead, this game is worth at least looking at if you like aliens, because man, it nails that aliens feel, and it's really cool that way. If you like Left 4 Dead, and this game's a pretty good one of those. I think that the combo, I think, as a standalone Left 4 Dead game, if you don't care about the Aliens franchise, take it or leave it.
It's
okay.
more of what you'd expect.
Yeah, but if you like Aliens, if you're a fan of that franchise, then I think it's a no-brainer if you like that and you like those style of games. I think that if you aren't a fan of Aliens, it's a fine one of those, but it's not doing anything really cool or special. What makes it exciting for me to play is the fact that it is Aliens, and that it sounds like that. The soundtrack is freaking awesome. Like everything.
Instead of Aliens, it was Starship Troopers.
That would be Aliens.
No, they're like insects.
Yeah. No, that would be good. I mean, that'd be basically the same game. You could obviously. I mean, Starship Troopers.
He thought he was he thought he was cracking wise, but it's actually a great idea.
What if instead of aliens, they were giant rat people and worshippers of chaos?
Oh, no, this sounds more like my
No, you're losing me. You're losing me.
Because that's what I've been playing.
What if we were there to kill chaos, but they were aliens?
All along, and it's about the
spiky
chaos
hair or
alien friends we made along the way,
and a big sword gun.
I'm in for that.
Anyway, so that's what I've been playing. Aliens Fireteam Elite. It's only $40, so it's probably one of those games that'll be cheap, quick.
Is it only on PC or is it on other platforms?
I think it's on everything, and I believe it's cross-play across the board too. There's
nice. That's good.
I don't think there's a competitive multiplayer. I haven't really dove in much to.
There should be. It really seems because I mean, like you guys were talking about, AVP had different.
Yeah, but this is very clearly designed to be here's a level.
Yeah, like a campaign.
It's not procedurally generated. It's a campaign.
Yeah.
Not that they couldn't. Not that they did that with Left 4 Dead 2. Obviously, it could work here, but I don't.
Yeah, they did that with all of them. It was all bespoke levels, but the thing that changed was the concentration of bad guys, and maybe some things were a little different.
It seems like this is more linear in that regard.
Like it's just a game to play.
This is the part where a bunch of aliens come, and here's the encounter, and they're coming this way, and they're going to throw a few this way. It seems like the game is more not procedurally throwing aliens at you, like the AI director that we talked about when we talked about Back 4 Blood, but it's more. This is the
maybe
way
the cards and things might modify it. So one last question, just be brief because I know we've been talking about this for a while. But does it encourage replaying? I mean, is there like a progression system, like you're trying to?
Yeah. So they want you to play higher difficulty levels, and there's armor and equipment and visual flair that you can get on your character that they encourage you to get. There's not a lot of difference between it, but there is that. But it seems like just like in Vermintide. They want you to play the higher difficulty levels.
Right. Even if the level is the same, it's just,
Left 4 Dead 2 did not have that for the record. Like, it was just one level, and the game became harder if you played it better, right? Like, that was the whole AI director thing. In this game, and that's what I mean, is like, the level is a discrete level. Here's your encounters, and this is the difficulty you play.
Other things change it up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
Cool. Well, speaking of change ups, I played something that is.
Oh man, I already had a lead in going, and you just
I snaked it. I
mauled right into it.
I made a pinch. No, what do you call it when you change a pinch?
Designate. I did a pooper or something.
Yes. Okay, we've got it all. We're sort of in the wheelhouse now. We're in the right arena, the right ballpark, if you will.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I played MLB The Show 21.
Peanuts. Get your peanuts here.
That's right. I put on my ball cap and everything. I don't play sports games often at all. Sports really of any kind. But I'll tell you what.
Let alone baseball games.
Yeah, right. Okay, so here's the thing. So
baseball?
we were just talking about, I was traveling last week. I was in St. Louis. And you know what Midwesterners like? They like baseball. Like inexplicably, they like baseball. So I know.
Dude, hanging out with a bunch of dudes that were talking about baseball,
and
Jeremy felt like he needed to be a part of the conversation.
Actually, so let me tell a brief story. So what actually happened was there was a student there, and he didn't. Our dinner thing that we were going to go to got canceled. So we went back to. He had an Xbox, and I had my Xbox controller because, of course, I was going to stream stuff to my phone like a technology boss. But he's like, "Oh, I got an Xbox. Let's go play something." So I was like, "All right, let's go."
I just brought my freaking Xbox. I was like, "Wow, I guess this xCloud thing isn't that." Okay, the Xbox Series S is tiny, right?
So he's got an Xbox One in his apartment, and I'm like, you know what? I bet I could sign in with my Game Pass. And I did, and all my Game Pass stuff was there. And, I was like, what do you want to play? And I went through all of this, and it turns out, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a gamer. But I'm like, what do you play? He's like,
I already had Game Pass signed in. Duh.
Yeah, no, but he basically, so he wanted to play the show. He's like, oh, the show, like I've been wanting to play that. And I actually was kind of curious about it because the interesting thing about MLB The Show is that it is historically a uniquely Sony franchise. Like it was only
Yes.
a PlayStation exclusive.
Until
In this
this
case,
year,
though,
last year?
this one
This
it
year.
has launched as on launch day on Xbox Game Pass, and so I was kind of
And
curious.
that's
to try
what
it
drove
out.
you to it, huh?
Kind of. Yeah. Well, the
As
thing
if
is,
the
the
game
last
was going to be any different from any other year. The fact that it's on Xbox.
Well,
you're
we'll
like,
talk about that. So I don't have enough experience to really tell you, but there are a few basic things. But so we got that going, and
were
it
the
does
button
that
prompts like square, triangle. I just
ki-
wanna ask you a
kind of.
question out
So
the gate.
no, they were not. So
Press
they did
F
the
to
correct,
bunt.
you know, A, B, X, Y. Yeah, exactly. Triangle, L1, whatever. Ratchet and Clank show up. But the game
Aloy's in
allows
it?
you to do that. Yeah,
Cool.
the game allows you to do that
Aloy's
thing
your
where it
second
partially
baseman, dude.
installs.
Come on.
You know what? Actually, like a character themed baseball, like where it's like the Sony lineup or something like that, I would play the heck out of that. I actually
Super
would.
Adventure Baseball All Stars.
Like
Go.
Super Mario Strikers.
You're
Is that
welcome.
Baseball or soccer?
That's soccer.
There was a
but
baseball
it's all the
version,
same.
right?
It's all the same. You just kick something around and score a field goal.
It
I don't
involves
know.
balls.
Yeah,
and
Yeah, I'm a
so
football coach. I can tell
Man.
you all about that.
so I
Just so
started.
you know, I'm flexing on all y'all. I'm a football coach, Jared.
It means nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing. So the last time
I'm a
I played
retired
a
soccer coach.
very nice.
All right.
I played.
No, it doesn't
I
count.
actually
Playing
watched
doesn't count. We're talking
professional-
coaches here.
Professional Touch Tag. I
I'm
watched
in
it
a
on TV.
fantasy
Freeze
NFL
tag?
football league with Germans.
I have auctioneered a fantasy football league. Is that something? So here's the
Anyway.
thing. So MLB, the show, it's baseball, right? So baseball is pretty much as it ever was. The last time I played a baseball game was on the PSP. MLB, the show on the PSP, actually. It was literally like 10 years ago. It was like MLB, the show 11. And ultimately, what I can sort of discern here is that, of course, they'll update the roster, and there's guys, Jimbo Hernandez, you may know of him.
Nope.
How about Lenny
Also, no.
Lenny McCuddits? I'm just
Nope.
making names up. Those are not real baseball players. but-
Mike
Oh.
Truck.
Yeah,
I
Mike.
wouldn't even be able to
Mike
tell you if those were real baseball players. or not.
Dale has won this episode. Mike Truck. that is a good one.
Gonzalez.
Todd Gonzalez. Your Cincinnati Piggers or whatever, whatever it is. Anyway, so the thing is that, the thing that makes a baseball game different is going to be stuff like, what are the mini games? I mean, ultimately you're playing through the game of baseball, but to make it interactive.
The mini games? That's not exactly what I think about when I think about baseball games.
Well, but when you're talking about video game baseball, I mean, you're still pitching, but you've got to figure out like where are you going to throw it in the frame, and the way that you do that is going to be.
Okay.
They are.
Do they change? Or they're like, or is this the only
yeah.
baseball
I mean,
game?
they like iterate. I mean, I'm sure. I have to believe that in the last 10 years that there have been some changes that they make, at least quality of life stuff. But in this case, so we'll start with the pitching. So the pitching gives you you use the face buttons to select different types of pitches. And then you sort of select where in the frame you're going to throw it. And it kind of gives you a little arc, and there's a little bit of variability for, you want to aim here, but there may be some drift on the pitch. And of course, the goal in baseball, if you're a pitcher, is to try and, well, first of all, to try not to let him hit the ball on the other end of on the bat. But there's some strategy to it, right? Like you want to try and control the space the same way you might in like a Street Fighter game or something. But here, controlling space means I'm going to throw inside, and I'm going to change it up and throw up into the outside. Then I'm going to throw it inside a little bit more, and like kind of have him, kind of move him off the base to, think where I'm going to throw there next. And then, basically just try and make it so that he can't guess where you're throwing, but every pitch looks credible enough that, you don't always want to throw it inside the strike zone. You want to throw it out, but make him swing at it and that sort of thing. I perceived, as we were playing this, that there was a decent level of AI involved. I mean, I felt like I could have been playing against a human player and doing a good job kind of like faking out a human. Similarly, at bat, the AI pitcher that I was playing against did a pretty good job of doing a mix of all sorts of things. Now, I do not know the higher meta game of baseball, and if this guy threw like a curly swirl ball and then threw like a zingy fastball or whatever, I don't know that, but it felt on the other end like it was a pretty good game of b-ball, or wait, b-ball is basketball, whatever it is, whatever they call it. Round ball, that's also basketball. I don't know. When you are hitting, you have the option to try and guess the quadrant, or I guess the sort of octant, because there's like up, diagonal, sides, diagonal, bottom. And if you guess successfully, it will highlight it so that you sort of have a better idea of the ball coming at you. So there is a little bit of a, you can kind of make a, it's sort of like placing a bet. And that's kind of what I mean about mini games. You know, they've done all sorts of different things when you're talking about how to hit the ball in baseball games, but they kind of add little things that are sort of like, well, here's your batter's intuition coming into play. You know, last time you knew he threw over here, so you're going to guess this time and this kind of ball. And then it helps you to actually physically strike the ball. The actual ball hitting is kind of more of like the same thing you might see in a golf game, where you have like a little bit of a slow or fast. You know, if you swing too early, it's red, and then there's kind of a continuum, and it's green right in the middle when you want to hit it, and then red on the other end when you're too slow. And then, of course, after that, you have the outfield. You've got your what they call small ball, which is sort of like the infield, like chasing the ball around the the shortstop and stuff like that, throwing the ball to different bases. All of that stuff is pretty basic. Your runner will always run to first base pretty much automatically. They do not have a thing. I remember in old school games, you would like have to hit the buttons really fast to like make them run. They don't do any of that. I guess that's too fakey. But you can also do things like controlling steals, which is not new in baseball, but you can kind of hold down a couple of combinations to
cool.
Yeah, exactly. You can like get your guy a good lead, and I would get out. I would not steal things. There's probably a science or an art to knowing when to try to steal a base. And I did learn a couple of things about baseball. So apparently in the last year, if you go to extra innings,
There's 4 strikes now.
There's 4 strikes. We now play in a pentagon instead of a diamond. No, but if you get to extra innings, if you get to the bottom of the 9th and you're tied, there's an actual rule now that you get an automatic man on second base. Did you guys know this?
It's new.
It is new.
Really?
And they've got it in this game. And so the two.
I only play baseball classic.
So the issue with baseball is it takes forever.
Yeah, it does. Like,
and if no one has won by the 9th inning, it goes to like 4,000 innings.
Yeah, or whatever. Like, it is an indefinite amount of time that a baseball game will last, and it may be just long enough to.
So here's the thing.
Like,
here's the
Star
thing
Trek:
with
The Next
other
Generation in
sports,
1989 or something.
Like you think of like sports like soccer, and soccer has its own weird like. The clock never stops, and then there's like extra minutes.
And then they give you the extra time. Yeah.
Hockey will go forever in the playoffs, but like skating on ice like murders a person. So they can barely breathe after the end of the game. Football, no one cares about football. Basketball's got a lot of running. Baseball has none of that. Like the only thing that limits baseball is the one player's arm on the whole game, on the whole team.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying.
And
a weird
speaking
sport.
of that, so the other thing here is that there is a little bit of strategy as well, because you have the ability to manage when you start your bullpen guys warming up. If you start warming them up too early, it might take their energy so that they're a little more exhausted when they get to their position. Like if you're going to put them in the batting zone, or whatever they call that, or if you're going to get a pitcher warming up, you want to try and start warming them up only right before you actually put them on the mound. Those kinds of things.
The rule where if you substitute a pitcher, they have to pitch for like 3 outs, I think.
I don't know, because I was pitching so well. I was on track for a no-no.
Okay, because that's another new rule. I'd be curious if they have it.
Yeah,
to prevent
I'm
them
actually
from
not
like
sure
changing
about that.
pitchers every minute.
I suspect that sort of thing is included in this game. The other things that I did not try, there's the Road to the Show mode, where you start out with like a elite high school kid or whatever, and kind of bring them up through the little leagues, and you kind of follow your player. There's a franchise mode. I'm sure that all of the rosters of the players are all authentic and all that good stuff. But I enjoyed it. Like, I actually kind of liked playing it. I wouldn't really seek it out. I don't know what the competing baseball game is this year or last year or any year. Actually, what is it now that you think? I mean, there's MLB The Show, and then there's like EA.
2K?
Is it 2? Yeah, probably 2K Baseballs or something like that.
No, there's a really no. There's a really good baseball game. It's on Steam. Hold on.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Beyond that, the
Super Mega Baseball 3. It doesn't have the MLB franchise, but it's really good.
That's like the super cartoon head guys.
Yeah, it's really good.
That one. I do have that. So anyway, generally speaking, really credible game of baseball. You can if you're not into
Is
like
it on
waiting.
Game Pass?
It is on Xbox
Is it
Game
on
Pass.
streaming Game Pass?
I believe everything is on streaming if it's a console game. Yeah, so I think you should be able to play it at xbox.com/play, and it also gives you a lot of quality of life stuff as far as skipping a lot of animations. So you can pretty much power through if you just want to like hit the ball around. You can basically do that and not have to wait for pretty much anything. So in that sense, it also is very friendly to people for whom the biggest problem with baseball is that it is slow.
That's
but
me.
Yeah,
That's
same.
me.
Same. So MLB The Show 21, very good. And if it's been 10 years since you played a sports game, I can recommend jump in and get your big league chew on.
Gosh, it is on Game Pass and it's streaming.
Yes, try it out.
I might try it.
Not on Game Pass, or at least not on the PC. I just noticed this apropos of nothing. Halo 5 Guardians. Is there not a PC port of that game?
Of course there
well,
is. Isn't it on Steam?
No.
You can play it on xCloud.
You can stream it,
Xbox,
but I don't
yeah.
think there's a native
Hold
PC
on.
version
Hold
because they were
on.
working through all of those PC ports, and I just
Yeah,
don't
that
think they
wasn't
ever
an
got
original
there.
PC game to start. And they've made the Master Chief Collection, and Master Chief Collection was just 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe.
And ODST and Reach. But
Right,
there is no Halo 5 as a part of the Master Chief Collection, which I thought is
Correct.
kind of interesting.
It is kind
So
of
it's not very good. Bad
Yeah,
one, I
but
guess.
for completeness' sake, they should have it,
Yeah.
agreed.
You can play it on xCloud on your PC.
I suppose.
What else we got
You
going
can
on here,
get
Dale?
Halo Infinite. Oh, Halo Infinite, December 8th.
That's Halo 6.
I don't know. I've never played one Halo game in my life, so
I've played a lot of them. They're mostly.
Is that in our news section? It better be because that was announced this week.
Yeah, we've got it for
Yeah,
Gamescom.
Oh.
probably.
Thanks,
Thanks,
there, Jared, for that.
yeah.
Preview of our news section.
I don't know. I feel like Jared should have gone earlier. So
I should have because I had a great. You know what? I've been playing a sports game too.
There you go.
Ultima Online Outlands. I hosted a tournament today. All right, that's enough of that. Very silly game. Yeah, we do. I do a monthly tournament in that game, focused on the virtues of Ultima. It's really
They're
important
very-
stuff. You got to go deep
they're-
lore into this, and
They adhere to the continuity, with which I approve.
yeah, we just reorganized the entire guild around the 3 principles. What are the 3 principles, Jeremy? Go pop quiz.
Truth. Let me think. Truth is one. I actually have the little symbol of them too.
Okay,
so it's
what's
gonna be
the
like,
symbol? Let's go with that.
So it's 3 circles with lines that go in between them, and then there's like a ring around the outside or something like
Well,
that.
but they
Is it
each have
something along those lines?
like a symbol.
Well, so the way it works is it works like this color wheel of
He doesn't
like
know.
moral principles.
Okay.
It's like
We-
truth and honesty
Justice.
and
No,
Yeah,
honesty is a
something like that.
virtue.
Yeah,
It's truth,
I-
love, and courage.
truth, love, and courage.
We organized it around it's the bell of courage, the candle of love, and the book of truth, and we organized around that. And
It's
we've
been a
been
while,
having
but
we've been having tournaments around the virtues. Today was compassion for this month, which
Nice.
the symbol is heart. Anyway,
you guys are good guys.
dude, we are good, and we're like knights, and we had a joust. It was so good. And there was speaking of sports, we had a guy playing a character that was walking around with a pack mule selling beer, selling ale, like at a baseball game.
Wow.
Nice. Anyway,
That's pretty
nerds,
great.
nerds, all of us to the core. No, the other game I've been playing that I actually wanted to talk even had a even better segue into Legrand's topic. I've been playing Left 4 Dead, but with giant rat people and evil chaos worshippers and beastmen. Yeah, I've been playing Vermintide 2. I actually mentioned it a couple weeks ago how much I wish I'd played that. And I was like, you know what? I own it. I'm gonna play it. So I started.
You've
playing
never
it.
played Vermintide 2 before?
Well, I had, but I hadn't played a whole lot of it. Is the thing.
Oh.
And so my favorite character has a new kind of DLC that's out. That's more than just a skin pack, but adds a whole new profession. So there's 5 characters, and then the way they have it is each one has I think it's like 3 professions. So and it kind of changes up how their skills work. So if you have the like the witch hunter is one of the characters, and he can also be a bounty hunter, which is more ranged, and then like a flagellant type guy. I forget what they're called, but anyway, so he's like melee, doesn't wear armor, just goes in, screaming. But the character, no, he's not a dwarven slayer, but there is a dwarven slayer. And there's a dwarven ranger and a dwarven iron hammer and like all that kind of stuff. But the character I like is a empire. He has like a captain and a foot knight, all the very Germanic empire characters. But they released a DLC which allows you to be a Bretonian Grail Knight, which is awesome. There's no horses, but it's fine. So he has like his unique mechanics are he does quests to gain the lady's favor. The lady is like the Bretonians' goddess that they worship or whatever. And so at the beginning of a mission, you start off with 2, or there's actually a trait you can have 3 random quests that you do, and they're like things like kill 20 elites or things like that, or get so many headshots, or just various things that you'll probably do anyway, but that might kind of change the way you try to play your character, which is kind of neat. That's kind of a neat mechanic. But the really interesting thing about him is, and there might be others, but I think he's one of the few characters that has no ranged combat. You get a longsword, and then you get your longsword, but also with a shield, and that's it. So you're really dependent on getting into the fray, so to speak, and really mixing it up with the Skaven and chaos and whatnot. And that game's just really good. I mean, it's just a really good adaptation of that Left 4 Dead, get from point A to point B with some objectives in between that kind of unfold as you go formula. And it's just a lot of fun to play. So I've been playing a lot of that. It's got, as you play and you find different collectibles in the world, there's like dice and grimoires and all these things you can like pick up that have sort of negative effects, right? So like I can't remember if it's like one of the items, I think it's the grimoire, but I don't remember specifically, but you pick it up and it takes the place of your heal item. So you no longer can heal unless you put it down, but it also reduces your maximum health. So it's kind of a negative thing. But if you but if you carry it to the end,
that game's hard, dude. Vermintide 2 is hard.
Yeah, it is kind of hard. But if you carry it to the end, the more of that kind of stuff you collect at the end, there's it like tallies up how you did, like, 4 people survived, you get so many points, and you carried 2 grimoires, you get these. You get it increases your rewards for that. So your characters level up. They have like a level progression system and like traits and stuff they can unlock as you go. But then you also get loot boxes is probably the best way to say it. But I mean, it's just for completing a mission, you get a chest that has 3 random items in it. And the more of these objectives you complete, it upgrades the chest so that the items are higher level and they have different traits, and instead of having 1 they have 2, and then they'll have like a special thing. And
I think that was the part of the game that I did not understand when I played this. There's like a whole crafting system that I couldn't really figure out, and I just would sort of just like play through with the base level stuff over and over again. And
so I've actually kind of, since I've come back to it, it's like when I tried to learn vectors in college, man. The first time it just like, I was like, the second time I came back to it, I was like, oh, I get this. This is easy. So now that I'm playing it again, I actually really have been looking at the different items I can do and the crafting system, and it kind of all clicks. So like you can craft items and you'll get,
maybe they've gotten the UI. Maybe the UI is better now.
It's a little bit different. A little bit, but not a ton, honestly. But it helps that I have like materials to craft stuff and like try to modify things and kind of suit it to my needs. But I was kind of looking through my character, and like some of the traits, I was like, oh, if I do this and this, I can like do this trait and this one and this one, and it kind of makes him play a certain way. Not like super different, but makes him like maintain more stamina or has better blocking power or whatever. And then I started like looking at my gear. I'm like, oh, look, I have this one thing that says it can do this, but it's lower level. And so I start re-rolling my higher gear, crafting new stuff. And suddenly my guy is like this uber blocker. So he can hold up his shield, which blocks damage from the front, but then you can attack like with it. And the normal default attack is it just kind of knocks back as the Empire soldier, but as the Bretonian, you actually hold the shield up and stab with your sword. So you're actually killing people while blocking. And I've lowered the block like energy costs so significantly that I can kind of do it a lot. So it's pretty effective. So it's kind of interesting to see that you can really kind of modify your play style in like a meaningful way, which is kind of neat. And the game is just neat. It's really pretty. You know, I have a kind of a newer computer, and I was kind of looking for a game that I could kind of load up and be like, let's hit it hard.
Pretty this thing.
This one does pretty good, right? Like it's got a lot going on and a lot of nice effects and models and a lot of things on screen at once when, you know, the Skaven horde comes running at you. So
are you in for Darktide when it comes out?
I'm really interested in it. I actually was looking at that, and that looks pretty good because I feel like the Warhammer 40K formula fits it really well.
I'm going to be playing that. It looks really cool.
Because, you know, a lot of people like the first-person shooter or the run and gun kind of mechanics.
More than first-person melee.
Yeah, more than first-person melee. I'll admit I think that's true. I think people kind of struggle to adapt to those systems a little more, but you're talking about running around with a bolter instead of a shotgun or instead of a rifle. It's pretty similar problem feeling in the end. And I think I'm really excited for it. So I apparently really like Fat Shark games because I think I own most of them. I don't know. Go figure. But so yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I've been playing it, having a pretty good time, just kind of popping in. I'll pop in, do a quick mission or whatever, kind of run through. It's kind of what I was getting at is it has like a storyline that you could follow, but you know, I pop into quick play and then I don't, it just joins you to a random mission even midway through. So like, I have no idea what's going on. But I'm trying to get some of those sweet loot boxes. So
chase the loot boxes always.
That's right. So that's what I've been playing is a little bit of Vermintide 2. And then of course, UO Outlands.
Well, I've got a little bit of dueling games here. So I decided to check out Kingdom Come Deliverance over the last week or so. Jared, have you played this?
I have played the heck out of it. In fact, I finished it.
Oh, really?
What?
Wow.
You did?
Okay.
Yeah, I finished it and the DLC.
Wow. Okay. I was going to ask you what you thought of it, but I suppose I know the answer to that now.
I played it a couple hours, a few hours.
300 hours.
57 hours, not 300.
57. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think that then the conclusion that I'm coming to is that I need to get a little bit further in because right now I've only played like a couple of hours, and I'll tell you what happened was the first thing that you're made to do. You're a youth in like it's like 1403 Bohemia, and you're the son of like a guy who's basically like he's kind of like I guess the blacksmith for the local lord,
like a town blacksmith. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're woken up and you're like you're a ne'er-do-well, probably like 16 or something ish.
Yeah, about that. Yeah,
like they all are,
and
like they do.
Yeah, and you're sent on an errand to go and pick up a few things around the little village, and one of the things involves going to see this guy who owes your dad money for the like hammer and nails and axe that your dad made for him. And this guy's kind of like he's a I guess he's down on his luck, or he's a drunk or something or other. He's got some reason why he's a bitter, angry fool. And you go up to him and you're like, "Hey, Kardesh," or whatever his name is. He's like, "My dad sent me to get the money." And he's like, "Yeah, you screw off. Tell your dad to screw off too." And then you're basically like in a dialogue with him, and it's like you can either try to persuade him with your charisma, which is very low, or you can try to like beat him up with your fisticuffs skill, which is also very
which
low,
is also
right?
very low.
Which is also very low. And so the first time I did it, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to beat this guy up. but he beat me up instead, and so that wasn't good. And then it was like, well, you got to find some other way to, get the money or get some sort of recompense. And so I went back and I talked to my dad again, and I was like, "Oh, here's the deal." And he was like, "Oh, okay, son, don't worry about it." But then in the top left it said, "Your dad is disappointed in
Your
you,"
dad will remember
or
this.
something like that. And I was like, "Oh no, this will not stand."
Reload.
So
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll give you a hint. Keep playing if you're still there because the game
Yeah.
changes significantly, and that won't matter after a while.
Well, I didn't want, I didn't want my dad to be disappointed in me, so I reloaded and I went and I tried it again, right? I tried to talk to the other guy, and then I took the dialogue option, and I was like, well, maybe it's probably just a dice roll behind the scenes. Maybe I'll get it this time, but I didn't get it that time, and so then I ended up fighting him again. And the thing is, like, he'll back off after he's like laid you out, but you can just like keep going back and just hitting him again and then getting knocked out and then go back and hit him again and get knocked out. And all the while it's like chipping away at his stamina. And so finally, after about 10 rounds of that, like I finally knocked him down. And then the game is like it gives you the option, it says like, life is
Kill
precious.
him.
Not all
Kill him.
not all encounters have to end in death. You can give him mercy or whatever. And so I was like, well, if I kill him, I'm not going to get the money, right? So I give him mercy. But then I still didn't get the money, right? So I was like, all right,
was your dad still disappointed?
well,
Now he's
so
double disappointed because you beat up this old man.
well, the third time I tried it, so
I didn't
reloaded
teach you to
again.
live this way, son.
And actually, I think I just started over again from the beginning, right? Because it was only like 5 minutes into the game at this point. And so the third time I went, and sure enough, I did the boxing, I did the fighting thing again. Still got beaten up, and I was like, all right, there's got to be a better way than this, because it seemed like the tutorial is obviously telling you find some other way to do this. And so then what I did was I went and I found my up to no good friends in the like town commons, and we went and played a prank on a guy by throwing manure from a pile at his freshly whitewashed house. And after we did this like prank,
Got him.
then my friends were inclined to help me solve my problems with the drunk guy that owes my dad money. So we went and all four of us beat him up. And then he was like, all right, fine, just take anything around here that has value.
I did
And
exactly that too on mine, by the way.
and so I took back the like hammer and the axe and the nails, and then I just went and sold them at the market. But the problem,
I think I just went and stole them. I don't think
You
I
can-
beat him up at all. I think I just stole them.
well, you can steal the axe because he leaves it like on the tree stump that he's using, but the hammer and nails are like locked up in a chest, and the only way I think to open the chest is to like get with your friends first and then like beat him up, and then because then like I think he just gives you the key later. But yeah, so I sold that stuff, but I only got like 3.9 groschen or whatever they're calling the currency. And that's not enough to buy the 10 pounds of charcoal that I apparently need. So right now I'm working on how to get the money for the charcoal. And one of the things I've done is a sword fighting lesson with my sword fighting trainer.
Sword fighting
but that-
train.
That actually went fairly well. I guess the one thing I'll say is that this game seems to have a unique approach to the first person melee stuff, where it's like
Mhm.
you move your mouse in one of sort of like 5 or 6 directions when you click one of the 2 buttons on the mouse for like your slash or your jab, basically. And then those 2 things apparently combine, maybe with the direction that you're running also, to give you like slashes and thrusts in different directions.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
It's fairly similar to like the way For Honor does, but I mean a little different. It's not exact.
It's a little more obtuse, I think. I think For
It-
Honor
it
maybe did a
is-
little better
It was
job.
kind of tricky to learn for me, and I did a lot of archery because it was just a lot easier to me.
Easier. You know what this? It kind of reminds me of The Witcher, the first Witcher game, which had a similarly unconventional combat.
Yeah.
This also has. It seems to have a little bit of that kind of that same almost that level of like Eurojank
Got a
from
lot of your jank.
yeah. It does seem to have some of that. But I mean, it seems charming enough. I want to contrast it really quickly though with the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which is a game you may have heard of. Um, I don't know. I was just thinking the other day, and I was like, you know what? Because I guess what I was thinking was like, well, the reason I played Kingdom Come to begin with is like I kind of need something to scratch that Skyrim itch, but
Sometimes you do, you know.
I really want to play Skyrim again because I'd have to reinstall it. I already had this installed, right? Um, but then I spent a couple of sessions with that, and I was like, I don't know if it's really going to give me the Skyrim thing. And then it occurred to me that Morrowind. And so I went back and I downloaded that in like 5 minutes because it's only like 2 gigs or something.
200, yeah.
Yeah. And I've been playing that for the last couple of days, and man, that game is still so awesome.
So good.
I just installed the vanilla, like no mods, nothing, just the Game of the Year edition off of Steam. And there's one crucial checkbox in the options that you want to check, and that is the always use the best attack type. Because that game had 3 attack types. There's like slash, chop, and thrust. And it wants you to use, for the right enemy, it wants you to pick the right one. But there's that thing in the options menu that you can just completely forego that whole aspect. And what that does is then makes the combat in the game more bearable because Morrowind combat is really a weird thing if you don't always
Morrowind
use
is
that.
like very strangely floaty to me. Like all of it feels real like disconnected. Yeah.
All of the Elder Scrolls games are like
That's
I was actually discussing this with my friend Esteban the other day, and he was just saying that that it just when it comes right down to it, first person melee combat just never is as good as you would like it to be, and it has to do with like trying to simulate depth on the screen. Maybe VR could do it better. I don't know, but on a monitor, it just never really works out quite as well as first person shooting does.
yeah, because it's so close to you, right? Like you want it to feel far
Yeah.
like further away, but not like
Like
20
you can't
yards that
really
way.
get the
Yeah.
actual. But the thing about it is when you just do like an over the shoulder perspective, like a third person perspective, it just instantly solves the whole thing.
Yeah, you
right?
get it.
Right?
Hmm.
You get that depth. Anyway, but yeah, Morrowind is just so good. It's weird because it's the first Elder Scrolls game I ever played, but when I say play, it was like I tried to run it on my non 3D accelerated laptop at the time, and I could sort of play it in a window about like 2 inches by 2 inches. And
Perfect.
so I never really got more than like, I don't know, an hour or so into the game. Like I think I'd gotten to Balmora like once. But if you know the story of Morrowind, if you've played the intro of it like 10 times like I have, you start off, as a prisoner in this little bitty town. And one of the first, like, sort of major quest things you do is you got to go to the nearby city, which is called Balmora, and you got to find and talk to this guy that's with the Imperial Legion. So I went and did that in my, what I've been playing the last couple of days. And the first thing the guy says is, "Oh, you're not, you're not high enough level to take on this main quest. So go and do some stuff for like the Fighters Guild or the Thieves Guild or the Imperial cult or or go join the Imperial Legion." I was like, "Well, I'm playing a Red Guard who's a warrior, and I'm wearing like plate armor and a big sword, so I'll go join the Legion." Well, to join the Legion, you have to go and find this place called Genissus, and then there's like the only fort in the whole nation of Vardenfell, where this game takes place. The only fort that's taken new Legion recruits is in Genissus, and so I'm like, I have no idea where that is because I have a map, but it's like all fog of war. There's no sign. I mean,
Right.
there's signs, but like only along the road as you get close to a place. But there's no like labels on a map. So I go around and like talk to people, and then in that game they have for the instant travel they have these silt striders, which are these like giant insect, like flea looking
Yeah.
insect that
The
you ride from place to
like
place.
the Greyhound bus system.
Yeah, but it's just a loading screen. You don't actually physically, you don't ride it through the world or anything. But so I was like, all right, I'll just take a silt strider somewhere and see if I can get my bearings from another part of the island or whatever. And so I go to the first place, and that's like another little town somewhere. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe if I talk to the guy here, maybe he gives me a different set of towns to go to. And sure enough, he did. And sure enough, there's the place that I want to go. And so I'm like, okay. So now I'm
Weird.
at that place. And now I got to go and find the guy to take the quest, yada, yada, yada. But I think this might be about the farthest I've ever been down this quest chain in the game because yeah, while I've played it a bunch of times and done a lot of different things, like these games, you just go in one direction and do something, and that's your whole session.
Right.
But yeah, Morrowind is just it's still fantastic. Such a great game. Good music.
I never played it. I never
Oh,
played
you
that
should
one.
you should play it. It's good.
Yeah,
It is probably, I don't know if it's the first open world like RPG I ever played, but it's like the first one I remember for sure. It's
What
really
the
good.
Elder Scrolls is now, this is basically where it became that. Like so
Yeah.
prior to this, they were trying to do this.
Yeah, like
but, the
Arena was kind of
technology just wasn't there.
weird. Yeah, and then
Daggerfall.
Daggerfall was so good.
Also a 2D game, like a Star Fox looking game.
Yeah.
No, Morrowind is really where they hit their stride. And it remains a very good game.
Morrowind's neat because of the setting. It was very not so much like your typical fantasy setting, right? Like it's like
It's got a weird twist on it because it's like the home of the dark elf.
yeah, one whole
in that
city was like the husks of like giant dead crabs or something like that.
yeah,
Is
totally.
really cool. Yeah, really neat game. Worth checking out.
Yeah, look around.
Also on Game
check it out.
Pass, I think.
There you go. Why? There's no reason not to check it out.
Back in the day, on the original Xbox, it had a really good port with the 2X packs and everything on there too.
I own the
you should use
collector's
the
edition from PC.
The Bethesda launcher. Thank you very much.
Or nothing.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So new releases, which we have got some of from tech-gaming.com. We'll get more on that a little bit later. Bravely Default 2, long out on Switch, I guess.
Switch, yeah. This is a
now on Steam.
Nintendo exclusive franchise.
Yep. Now on
Was
Steam.
the first one a Switch game or was it it was a DS game, right? A 3DS?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
original was a
3DS,
3DS, yeah.
Yeah.
This one probably looks pretty good then, if that's the case.
Yeah, I
Right?
think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I've actually looked at it on the Switch and been like, yeah, that might be kind of good because it came out recently, right? Like this isn't like it's been there forever. I mean, it was maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah, like earlier this year, I want to say.
Yeah.
Jared, are you a fan of this sort of game?
What?
I don't know.
Why are we
That's
talking about
what
this
I
now if it
couldn't
came out a
decide.
few months ago? Is that what you're saying? That this came out a few months ago?
Bravely
on
Default
Switch?
2. I think it came out this year, but I don't think it was that recent. It might have been like February even. But yeah, I am a big fan. Or let me say, I was a big fan until the first game
February
made a
26th.
poor choice, and then now I'm no longer a fan. So I did not play
man.
Bravely Second nor this.
Wait, like
But maybe
how far-
someday.
How far into that game did you get?
Very far. Do you want me to tell you what the thing is that it does? Because I know I've mentioned it a couple times on this podcast, but
I don't know. Go ahead.
it literally resets you to the beginning of the game at one point after you've put a lot of hours into it. And I know it's part of the rubric or part of the they do it on purpose, but it is bad. I don't like it, and
Sure.
it ruined me for the rest of the franchise. It was bad, but the mechanics of that franchise really great. The whole combat system, the kind of risk reward system of killing everybody in one round, and you get
I did not like when I played the demo of that first game on the 3DS or whatever. I didn't like how you had to like literally click the A button like 16 times to do anything in that game.
See,
was
what
like,
gets
this-
me is like the game world, like where you're running looks awesome, but then the combat, I'm like,
Oh,
no,
it's
that's for
turn-based.
me.
The cool thing that I liked about it is that you can actually preset what you want your party to do. So if you have like a plan, you can actually just set it to repeat stuff. So Dale, it solves your problem. If you're in an area where it's like, oh, these guys are all weak to fire, you set up all your fire stuff, wipe everybody out in one shot, and combat just like breezes right through. And I love like being able to fiddle with a combat system like that. Final Fantasy 12 kind of had that same sort of thing. And I like being able to set my party on autopilot and then they just do it. And I'm like, yeah, very satisfying.
Programming.
Yeah.
Weird. All right. Also weird. Rustler, which is like, imagine the original Grand Theft Auto games, like the top-down ones, but like medieval, but making fun of it.
So Red Dead Redemption medieval.
Kinda.
parody.
Yeah. We have a very fun episode of the Game Bytes
top
show.
down. Yeah, we actually did stream its like early access. It's pretty silly.
I
was
kickstarted
fun.
this game with Jared, for the record.
Yeah, it's good. You should go
And
play.
I haven't played it. I haven't installed. I've had it installed since I got the early access and never actually tried it out.
The sequel to the fantasy Civ type game King's Bounty 2 is out now.
Thought
or
we mentioned
coming
this
out.
last week.
Oh, did we? Well, it's like coming out. I don't know. Myst. I guess they redid Myst again.
It's true. Yep.
And there's a big hubbub over they replaced the FMV like video cutscenes with CGI. Anyway,
Yeah, because
Myst.
it's supposed to be like a remaster kind of thing.
I don't know. Like if you
Yeah, it's like a remake, not remake, but
Yeah, like the HD edition or whatever.
it's more Myst. Literally just Myst. So if you want more Myst, go get it.
Yeah.
Also, not on tech-gaming.com. Pathfinder.
Sorry, Robert Desert Eagle Allen, you stinker.
Yeah. No, maybe I just missed it. Pathfinder, the Wrath of the Righteous. So this game, this is kind of a follow-up to Pathfinder Kingmaker, I think it was called, that came out a while ago. But it's think of like a D&D 3.5 type RPG, top-down, Infinity Engine kind of thing. Looks pretty good. I actually kick-started this one, I think. So I'm looking forward to this one coming out. Looks pretty cool. That's on
Sweet.
PC. I don't know.
So I chose the first rad Switch PC game title here.
These are
Baldo
all-
the Guardian Owls.
That's definitely not like a third tier knockoff of
Baldo
something.
is like, but first of all, that's a singular name. How's
It-
it?
yeah,
then
it is kind
a
of weird.
plural Guardian Owls.
Yeah, everyone
mean,
knows
maybe-
it's Baldai or multiple.
It can be singular or plural, like deer or samurai.
Moose is to me says goose is to
Mhm. Jesus.
Baldo.
I added the other ones onto this list as well. One-Eyed Lee and the Dinner Party. This sounds like one of those
One-Eyed Lee.
like novel, visual game novel games, where you're not really playing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess. Anyway, also the Tesla simulator Crash Auto Drive on here is one of our rad Switch PC game titles. Sounds pretty good. That's pretty good.
I hope it really
And-
actually is just like an auto driving.
You just sit there and watch
in
it
the car.
crash.
Yes,
Like,
It's
there's
actually
people
just
there.
like-
What is it going to stop? It's not stopping.
you file a lawsuit against the manufacturer.
It's like a flying toaster screensaver.
Gotta
You
be.
just
It's awesome.
And inspired by Jeremy, Instant Sports Paradise. After his
It
recent
sounds
foray
good, like in
into sports
concept.
games. It's probably good.
Instant
It
Sports
probably
Paradise.
has really good mini games with throwing the ball. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Which is all sports games.
sounds fast.
Crash Auto Drive
Yes.
is also on PC, by the way.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Game Pass, and I'm like,
No,
oh,
listen. Listen to this. When your self-driving auto cab kills a cyclist in this murder mystery visual novel, it's up to you to talk with fellow passengers and use the clues you find to contradict their lies as you unravel how you all could possibly know the victim and have a motive for murder. Even
that
the car.
kind of sounds great, actually. I kind of really like that.
All right, can't wait to hear about it next week.
It's actually came out earlier this year, but it's a rad Switch game title this week.
Right. All right. A couple of items. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
All right. The deals and freebies. I think I just kind of threw some stuff in here. If you use Indie Gala, which I don't, and maybe I should. I don't. Do any of you guys have an account over there? Do you do?
I
that?
do.
No.
For
No?
free
Okay,
stuff
well-
like this.
Yeah, kind of. But then you like have to actually go there and play it. So,
Yeah.
in this case, I've just found that it's not even worth it for me to go get the free stuff. But if you like Jared Red Eye Dunn, go to indiegala.com for free stuff. The Leisure Suit Larry series has like 4 games that are all free. That's the classic Al Lowe, risque adventure text parser game series. The first one was made free a while ago, and then it's like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th one now. Number 2, 3, and 5 on the series now available.
4 is you got to
free.
pay for that one.
Yeah, right. Ooh, that's the good one. And there's kind of an interesting story behind it. I guess Al Lowe has I don't know. He's just a good guy. He just wants to give you some stuff.
Yep.
Phasmophobia, the game that I talked about a while ago, a couple weeks back, the ghost documentation simulator. That sounds so boring. They've just added some new ghosts. I think I mentioned at the time.
Ghost Detective Simulator.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Ghost Detectives. So they've added now some new things for that. If you don't know what that's about, go listen to our show from a couple weeks back. It might entice you. On the Epic Games Store this week, we are wrapping up with Saints Row the Third Remastered and Automa Chef.
I got those.
Good man.
Yeah.
Those are, all of you are good men. Good.
I never played a Saints Row game.
You should go play. Saints Row the Third is the best Saints Row game. It is so good. I played the heck out of it and then went and played Saints Row 2 and couldn't wait for Saints Row 4 to come out. Saints Row 1 is, you can't play it.
I tell you what, I did stop playing that game after the Gimp Rickshaw Street Chase. Not because I didn't like it, but because that was the best thing I think I'd ever seen.
From there?
And I could not. I mean, that was it. It was like the pinnacle. It was that actually genuinely super funny.
So you can imagine how excited I am. The reason Saints Row the Third Remastered, I say the reason, like it was kind of a surprise on Epic. Sorry. They announced Saints Row Reboot coming out.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. And then next up,
also probably worth. Finish that line.
Yeah. So next up, next week is Yoku's Island Express will be on Epic Games Store for free here shortly.
Perfect. And I was just going to mention GOG is currently having a sale through September 2nd. So if you're watching this before then, go check it out. They got a bunch of games on sale.
Cool.
I think Hunt Showdown's on sale too, by the way.
Nobody wants that game.
It's a good game.
It is.
I played solo the other night.
Nice. How'd you do?
Not good.
It's good that you can still say the game is good even if you're bad at it. I mean, that's the market.
Listen, everyone's bad at Hunt.
Yeah.
I'm bad at it, and I love it. It is on sale for half off right now, by the way. They have an event going on, the Light the Shadow event. That's they introduced Native Americans and a bow weapon and tomahawks, and there's a whole event surrounding it happening right now. And the game's on sale because they want you to play their game because it's great.
Right.
So go buy it for $20.
Well, hey, if you're not playing those games, there's a whole slew of incoming games. In our news this week, we want to kick it off with Gamescom 2021. This is the game show that has kind of carried the torch for E3, I would say, in Europe, in Cologne, Germany. And it went on from August 25th to 27th, and lots of stuff was shown there. There was opening.
It might have been canceled again, but or I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the first time.
I mean, I don't really know in person, like if there were a lot of. I actually kind of was busy this week, so I sort of missed everything that was happening in the world.
Yeah.
But the big thing here was opening night live. Jeff Keighley was hosting this, so he's got his fingers into this one too, and that's fine by me. He does a good job. So as Jared mentioned, one of the kind of main things, there was a big trailer for Saints Row. I guess it's just called Saints Row.
Yeah, I think so.
Full on reboot, right?
Just
Rise
like a reboot.
Saints Row, Shadow of Saints Row.
Rise of the Saints.
Yeah, something like that.
Saints Row Showdown, the remastering.
I'm in.
Oh man. Elite Fire Team. Saints Row. Something like that. So that's there. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker is. I guess sort of it redoes this Lego Star Wars stuff, but with the more recent, people can talk, and of course all the tech is new and stuff like that. That is going to come out in spring 2022. It's all the Star Warses, not the holiday special though, and not the Ewok Caravan of Courage. So I am out hard nope on this one for me. Death Stranding Director's Cut, which is mostly Death Stranding, but it is going to harness the power of the PS5, and they've also added a whole lot of just like weird things. Like they've added luggage cannons and car racing and I don't know, all sorts of stuff. It was like a 10-minute trailer for stuff they're adding to Death Stranding. Yeah, and I sort of lost interest. Call of Duty Vanguard is a World War II. Yeah. And this one is going to take place, I guess, on kind of the western, I guess it would be the Eastern Front, sorry. So it's, it looks, Stalingrad is in there. And so I don't know, maybe it's pan all fronts, but anyway, that's what I see here from the trailer. The Black Desert Online people, that's called Pearl Abyss, have announced a game called, I don't know how you say this, Dokv or Dokev. Yeah, and it's sort of like you remember a while back there was that Pals. It was like Pokemon but with machine guns and stuff like that.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
this is
yeah.
also sort of like that. It's kind of like Pokemon, K-pop, Jet Set Radio, and in this case you have monsters that are called Dokkaebi, and you fight against robot enemies and that sort of thing. Halo Infinite, of course, is after its delay from
Never
was it
heard of
supposed to
it.
be out last year originally? Seems like they were going to do it last year and they pushed it
Probably.
to this year.
Yeah, I mean, all
something like
games
that.
get delayed, right? So
Yeah, they seem to be. I didn't really get much from this, and I'll
It's
tell
supposed
you.
to be a launch title for the Xbox Series game consoles.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was supposed to be out last year. But here in this case, they're doing like it's kind of going more toward Destiny, where not everybody is in armor, not everybody is Master Chief, and now we've got like kind of regular people running around, and the trailer's all about what is a Spartan. You are a Spartan in your heart if you believe.
don't give me
Yeah,
that crap. There's only
don't.
one Spartan. John 117.
That's
Man,
right.
I remember like it was like a nephew of mine or something once talking about like skulls and like how important like collecting the skulls were. And I'm like, dude, you lost me. I can't.
Yeah, all
Oh,
those
it's from Halo 3.
Yeah, I
those
don't know,
chase
man.
items.
Yeah.
He like wrote a
right.
book report on it or something once. I don't even know. I'm like, stop. I can't.
Skulls
here's
for the Skull
something-
Throne.
Go collect feathers in Assassin's Creed or something, man.
Yeah, done that. Here's something that might actually interest all you guys for different reasons. We've kind of been hinting at, or there have been hinted on the internet, signs of an upcoming XCOM skin, like Marvel, sort of like Marvel, but it's a strategy game. So Firaxis Games, normally known for 4X,
XCOM.
Civilization and stuff like that. And they did. Well, they've done all kinds of things. But anyway, this game is called Marvel's Midnight Suns. And now we actually have a trailer showing how this is actually going to work. And it's basically like a kind of like a Marvel Cinematic Universe, like a bunch of those, but also it's got X-Men and stuff, which I think is coming at some point in the movies. So what's the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I guess? Something
Oh, yeah.
kind of like that, where you can mix and match a lot of people, but it's strategy-based, like straight up turn-based strategy. So that
I
one's
watched the trailer for this and I thought it looked a little bit dopey, but I do think the premise is very solid, which you're basically saying is I have actually heard that it's not entirely XCOM, but it's some sort of maybe like triangulating
yeah,
XCOM and like an action brawler or something
maybe
like
something
that.
else with it.
If it's I don't know if it's the XCOM team, but it's certainly like Jake Solomon was like the guy who led that team for the first XCOM game, and he's apparently leading the team for whatever this game is. So it could be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, I thought it was, it kind of did like the characters look kind of weird, but I think that's just comic books. Like it's like
Yeah,
Yeah.
comic books are dumb, so
kind of
don't put too much
I
stock into that.
agree. I agree. And then there was all sorts of other stuff. Dying Light 2 was announced. Age of Empires 4.
Wasn't
Uh,
announced. That's been announced for a while. But Dying Light
right.
2, I will play. That game
Mhm.
was awesome. I love the
Mhm.
first one.
It was really cool. Age of Empires 4 is on there. Forza Horizon 5. A game called The Gunk, which I think it looks sort of like you live in a garbage world where everything is discarded and
Oh, it's a
you're
sequel to Sunset Overdrive, presumably.
Is it really?
I don't know.
I can't tell if you're serious, because I was like, oh, that actually might be really cool.
It looks like maybe.
They're doing expansions for Microsoft Flight Simulator, adding racing. And then here's something that's kind of interesting. Humble Games, and this includes stuff like Midnight Flight Express, Unsighted Bushiden Chinatown Detective Agency, and just all sorts of things are coming to Game Pass. And then I guess there was a future games show too, and I did not see much about this, but this includes things like Moonglow Bay, Salt and Sacrifice, Dolmen, which I don't know what that is, a world premiere trailer for Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. You guys may know a little more about that.
It's funny. I actually happen to be painting plastic demon hunters. They're called the Grey Knights in 40K. So yeah, I'll be checking that game out. I saw the little cinematic trailer, the teaser thing that they did.
Nice. What do you think? Thumbs up?
Yeah, it looks cool.
All right, cool.
I mean, it was just it was zero gameplay, so
Right.
if there's a gameplay trailer, I need to actually watch that as well.
Right. And of course, there was a lot more being shown off and things that didn't make all the Jeff Keighley trailers and that sort of thing. But lots of things coming out from Gamescom here in the near or distant future. Next item I've got on here is sort of maybe for our review and thought tonight. There was a news story this week that an indie developer, specifically this is Amica Games, who made a sort of a psychological thriller called Summer of '58, which released in July, so last month. And the game is fairly short, which means that there have been a high number of refunds through Steam's refund policy, which states that if you play something, and I think it's under, is it 3 hours?
This Joker's trying to
2 hours is the refund.
2 hours. 2 hours. So what Amica Games said is that my game, Summer of '58, does not reach 2 hours of playing time by Steam standards. In this regard, a huge number of returns on the game, even with positive reviews, and I do not earn anything to create a new game. Which basically sort of threatens the existence of that developer's, livelihood or whatever he or she would see from making that game. So Steam's current refund policy lets you refund any game if it's within 14 days of purchase and has 2 hours or less of logged playtime. So for most games, that's not really a problem. The gameplay itself, like the guts of the game, are typically you'll be playing longer than that. But there are some games that don't. And I also found something kind of interesting that in that same month, one of the most popular games in July, even though now this is a free title, but you can play it in about 5 minutes, and it was literally on the list. If you go to the link for where Steam lists what are the popular games that week, it's on the list, called Alpaca Stacka, which a lot of people have played it. So even though the name's kind of silly, there are games that are really well appreciated, and if somebody chooses to monetize a short game like that, well, they run the risk of, no matter how good their game is, basically being more or less shut out.
That sucks. But like, I don't know. Steam does have a thing, like they somewhat limit you on like frivolous refunds, right? So if everybody decides to buy your 45-minute game for, presumably it's a reasonable price, $5-10 or whatever, and not
Right.
50, but if people want to be cheapskates and game the system or whatever like that, then hopefully that's their one time of doing it before Steam has their filter algorithm or whatever look and go, oh, you've been getting a lot of refunds for short games.
Needs to sell more, skin packs and DLC. No, kidding. But
yeah, it's probably just something they need to deal with. I mean, yeah, it sucks. It sucks for the developer, but do you really think it's a high percentage of people that are doing that? Like,
well, I mean, as far as the percentage of people, at least by this particular developer's standards, it was enough that he says, I'm just not going to make games anymore.
That's fine for him. Is it a wider problem in general for the community, though?
Well, and that's kind of what I wonder. And thinking back, I mean, there have been a number of, if you remember the sort of video game luminary podcast environment, say 10 to 12 years ago, when indie games were, still kind of like fresh, or it was maybe the second generation or maybe third generation. I mean, there were things like Gravity Bone and
Lindo games. Those can almost all be finished in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Or I mean, there are others like that, and there was a lot of buzz about that stuff. There were people talking about it, that you can deliver like a really interesting or engaging experience in a small chunk, and I think there's something to be said for that. And Steam is not the only game in town. I mean, you can do some other things, so it wouldn't necessarily squelch things entirely, but it's kind of the idea that we've run into before, where it's like, well, if you don't like it, go die in a hole somewhere on some tertiary, game storefront or something, and that doesn't seem right, I guess.
Yeah, so, I could certainly see that as kind of frustrating, but like, it doesn't surprise me for Steam lately. I feel like Steam has become a very strange place. Everyone talks about it, and certainly it did a lot of things, but it's kind of an odd store. I'll be honest, I don't really go to it as my go-to anymore. I look at other places because it's just there's just so much in there, and I'm like, I don't know.
So you're talking about from a discoverability standpoint or from like
Just
user reviews?
Just all of it, and like in terms of, is it actually the cheapest to get places, or does it deliver quote unquote the best experience, like for me, right? Like I don't know.
Kind of crappy and outdated, honestly.
It's pretty
It feels
old. Yeah, it feels
It
old.
feels old, and not that that matters. I mean, all I want is a place to click a button and play a game.
Add
It
to
doesn't
cart,
matter
yeah.
that much, really, you know. But I agree with you. Like I don't necessarily not go to Steam, but I don't really care anymore. And I think we've had these conversations before.
Yeah.
You know, I don't
Let me
care if
ask
it's
you
Steam or
this.
something else.
So in the case of these small games like this, do you feel like it would be unreasonable for there to be? I mean, I guess in some way, this whole process is a result of, I guess, basically legal action against Valve for not allowing this.
Yeah,
But
the European Union, right?
yeah, or I seem to remember Australia was kind of a big factor for them. But it seems like there could be something that allows a developer to credibly apply for maybe an exemption or something. Do you think that it would be fair for a game like this to
maybe
not
Valve's
be
policy
refundable
of
at
2
all?
hours is not a great.
It's
I'm not
pretty
sure,
blanket,
but,
right? But
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
remember
it's also fine for 99.9% of the games, right?
It is.
Like,
and I
But at
remember
the same time, you don't want to say, well, just don't make a 5-minute game, because you want
Yeah.
5-minute games to be possible.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that this is only applying to a very small segment of.
Well, and
quite
that's
honestly, I mean, you could buy. There's a lot of, like, the Ramp, for example. I bought that game I talked about a couple weeks ago. That little
Yeah.
skateboarding game. I've
That's a
not
good
played
example.
2 hours of it, and it was a $5 game. I could theoretically right now just go refund it.
If you want to
and get
be a
$5
jerk,
back.
like all the people that do that. Right?
Exactly. I'm not going to do that.
Maybe we should not
But-
worry about what the lowest.
So
common
let me ask you
denominator is.
this. So Legrand, you're right. Most games it does not apply to, but let me ask you this. Let me put you in kind of a particular scenario here.
Uh-oh.
Let's say that game is, in hypothetical world, Valve allows a developer to do this, but that game is not refundable. How do you feel about that?
I don't think Valve would get away with locking that out. They would have to adjust the policy so that shorter games have a different.
I
Yeah,
think that's
like-
what they do. I don't
Yeah.
I don't refund. I've only refunded one game on Steam.
But just
and it was
sort
Blood
of
Bowl.
just kind of hypothetically though, like if the refund time were 10 minutes or something like that, you know.
And I
if
wanted
they-
to refund it, and I couldn't all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Was I
Right.
mad?
I mean, it's kind of weird though, because like, who else does that, right? Like when you buy stuff,
It depends
at a
on. I think
store-
it probably depends on the price of the game. Like if I had spent $5 and, like, on the Ramp, for example, I don't know if I'm going to get hours of
$9 this
gameplay out of
cost,
it. I'm
by the way.
probably not. You know, but it only cost me $5, so who cares,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah,
I
this
think
game.
that-
So this game, The Summer of '58, regularly $8.99. It's on sale right now for $6.92.
I think that the internet is full of entitled people, and they don't understand the value of their entertainment dollars as it pertains to video games.
I don't think that's
You know
an
what I mean? Like,
internet.
$8 is not much.
Yeah.
$8 a movie is $12 a person, you know, or whatever.
Agreed.
Like a video game for $8 that's going to get me 2 hours of experience. If it's a really good quality experience, like, probably worth it, you know? Like,
Yeah, but so I don't think this is like and maybe it's easier to do on Steam or something, so people do it more, but like this isn't a new phenomenon. I've known people that worked at bookstores, and people would very obviously have bought a paperback book and they would return it read because you could tell the spine was all broken all the way through, and say they never read it or they didn't like it or whatever, and the store would accept it because it was within whatever time frame or whatever. Which is funny because you could have gone to the library and gotten the same book for literally free and had the same experience, right?
Merchant.
So
Yeah.
like I don't think this is a Steam issue. I think this is a people issue. I don't know.
I think these
Well, and I
guys
was
should have applied and got onto Game Pass and made their money that way.
Ooh, that's actually
go to
also
Epic.
not a bad idea. Yeah.
And get
Or
So
an
there are
order
other
cut
models.
for
Hey,
the
Epic,
ones
we
they
got
do
this really
sell.
cool game.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think where I land on it is that I would be interested. I think that it would be salutary for a storefront like Steam to consider protecting through policy some of these particular types of game, and maybe they apply for it. Maybe there are particular characteristics. Maybe it's on a case by case basis. Because if it really is,
Yeah.
you know, point one of the total storefront. It seems like that's something that a human could manage and say, okay, we'll adjust this down to this kind of thing. Because I think that there is a place for those kinds of games, and I think that a storefront should. I know that it's a consumer service, but I think that from a supplier, developer kind of standpoint, I think that it is valuable to protect your supply. I guess it is valuable to protect the art and engineering of the people who
Yeah,
are.
I agree. I just don't know if Steam cares.
I think that's probably true. Yeah, yeah,
There's some
If you
degree
want
of
that, go to
you have
itch.io.
to
I,
you
but
have to apply the policy
that
in a
many people
blanket
don't go
sort of
there.
way
So
anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, elsewhere in video game news, I've got an item here about the World of Warships, and
Oh.
I'm not exactly sure what a bonus code is here, so I might
So,
need Jared.
yeah, so what they did is so they had this kind of blow up. They had a ship that released that was like only buyable through like loot boxes and whatever. And so a lot of people got mad. A lot of they have like a official streaming like program, right? Like a content creator program, if you will. Um, and so they basically issued this non-apology apology and offered um, players who were upset a code where they could then go purchase this thing after completing some missions or whatever. But the code had like derogatory like allusions to this streamer that initially quit the program or something. It was just like so lowbrow and
Childish.
yeah, it's just like oh my gosh, just insane. Yeah, the code was I had it pulled up here.
I have it right here. So it's a Russian language stream,
Yeah.
and it basically has an FKU sort of there in it. If that
And
tells
then the
you,
guy's name. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's just so stupid, and the whole thing is bad. And it's like, I don't know. The World of Warships is a game I really enjoy playing and kind of watching, but it's disappointing to see a company act like a bunch of
Yeah.
babies. I don't know.
Yeah,
Weird.
that sucks
It's a
when
weird
that
one.
happens.
Yeah. So here's kind of something interesting. Gamma Sutra, which is
Yes.
a very good resource for
Business
sort of
side of stuff.
like less of the consumer facing
Business
stuff.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, business or development or theory sometimes, or they're involved. I think typically with GDC to some extent. They'll have I believe that's a site that'll host, or you can go look at talks or things that people give their presentations. Have changed their name to Game Developer, which I think is probably a positive thing because I think Gamma Sutra was always like kind of weird.
You know what's so
Um,
funny, Jeremy, is that like all these years, of being exposed to the name Kama Sutra, and of course,
Doesn't mean
knowing
anything
that
anymore.
it was just a play on, yeah, it became one of those things that you just don't even think about, and then like when somebody brings it up in relation to them changing their name, you're like, oh yeah,
That was
a
weird.
stupid.
That was really
pun.
dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even mean anything. It wasn't even funny. And you can imagine like if you give out your business card in, like regular company, it's just not really.
Yeah.
So you can now go to gamedeveloper.com. It looks like the content is maybe laid out a little bit differently, but it's still kind of the main idea is sort of retained here that features are typically on things like game development theory, some really deep dives into postmortems of existing games or old classic games and things like that. I always enjoyed the content that they have over there, and I think this is probably a good move. But like you said, we've had Gamma Sutra for so long that it's like
It is weird. It's almost like, oh wow, they're finally changing that. Oh, weird.
yeah, yeah,
It really is a new day.
yep.
Oh, so the
That's
next
right.
thing here, I'll just mention.
Yeah,
Real
sure,
quick.
go ahead.
So Bethesda, I guess it must have been part of the Gamescom thing. They briefly showed and introduced, and it was basically just sort of like key art stuff of 3 locations from the game Starfield, right? And the reason I thought this was interesting is because we don't really know anything about Starfield. We didn't know if it was going to be, you know, Oblivion, but with spaceships, or what it was going to be, right?
Right.
But from the looks of these 3 locations that they've shown us, and each of them, they sort of look to be like the 3 archetypical settlements for at least 3 factions that the game is going to have. And I'm not going to, I don't have the article, I don't have the names in front of me, I'm not going to go through them, but basically what you have is like there's one place that's sort of like they described as like the Federation city, right? And so it's like eclectic, it's like diverse, it's like a vision of what the true future of space exploration might be. The second one they showed was basically like, the frontier, pioneer, libertarian, very rugged, individualistic,
Right. Firefly.
that sort of thing. Yeah, basically a setting that sort of kind of looked based on that. Although the aesthetic for that one was interesting. It reminded me of like Nepalese or Mongolian, like high altitude settlements and stuff, and like with just the sort of artistic look to it. Again, this is all like concept art stuff.
Right.
And then finally, the third one was basically like Gold Saucer from Final Fantasy VII. It's like a water planet, and they created this like oil rig floating thing on the ocean to like harvest fish. But then apparently they discovered that one of the fish had like psychotropic properties, and so then the whole thing just became like a pleasure palace or something.
Fish
So
drug out.
yeah, like a casino, or I don't
Yeah.
know what. But anyway, like, so the general gist I got from all this was that Starfield seems like it's probably going to be toward the quote unquote hard sci-fi end of the spectrum, and probably not have like, a bunch of rando aliens like Mass Effect. Well, I don't know, it could still surprise us, but it does seem to be broadly themed around
There has to be aliens in it,
humanity
though.
expanding out into
There'll
the
be
stars.
aliens.
I don't think there will be. I'm
don't think
thinking there
so?
may not be aliens.
They'll
I-
do that in DLC 10 years from now.
That's
Well,
right.
you guys know of The Expanse. Have you watched that show or read those
Mhm.
books?
I watched some of it.
I
Yeah.
read the books. I didn't watch the show.
I mean, that one does get into some like alien proto molecules type stuff, but at least to begin with, and primarily, it's concerned with humans expanding from Earth out into
Yep.
the solar,
Yeah.
into space, and that seems to be what Starfield might be. Which I'm actually very interested in that more so than Oblivion and spaceships. So
Right on.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the moral of the story here is
What
that
about
the,
Morrowind and
Starfield,
spaceship?
the
Even better.
Starfield marketing engine is rolling and it ain't going to stop for another
That's it.
year. and
It's
change.
11/11/22, I think, or is it
Yeah.
11/20
Yeah.
22,
More than a
22?
year out.
11/11/22. Yeah.
11,
That's a
11,
long
22.
ways away.
We're
11
gonna get
years
plenty
from
of
now.
this drip fed out over the next year and change. Like that's what's
Yeah.
just gonna happen. Which is cool, man. I mean, the concept art looks great. Like it looks
It
cool.
looks
I
neat.
like it.
Well, here's something that's coming a little sooner, and I am super duper excited about because it's something that I was really hoping for before now. The Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Game Streaming that we talk about on PC over at xbox.com/play is going to be coming to consoles this holiday season. And what I have been doing on my TV is I've been, kind of side loading the Xbox app and then playing from my TV there because I'd really like to just like stream stuff to my TV instead of having to sit down at my PC. So that's something that they announced at the Microsoft Gamescom presser, and this means that Xbox One will be able to play in the same way that you can play it on your PC right now, stuff that is kind of beyond its ken. And then, of course, for Xbox Series X people, you'll have access to a lot of these games without having to burn storage space, which is also my personal. I mean, both things. Not having to download stuff and eat up storage, but then also on my old clunker Xbox One, being able to play stuff that is enhanced. So that is exciting for me. The last item I've got here in the regular newsy news is that just to give you an update on the Activision Blizzard lawsuit by the state of California, new allegations have arisen from the prosecution that this is from the DFEH, the California Department of Fair Employment, that Activision Blizzard had suppressed evidence during the initial investigation. Specifically, there was, I guess, willful, malicious, fraudulent, and oppressive attempts to do this by destroying documents and other things. So this is not going well, at least in the arena of public opinion for Blizzard Activision, but there is a response that Activision Blizzard had provided, basically saying that they are trying to make things better. We have complied with every proper request in support of its review, the DFEH's review, even as we had been implementing reforms. Those changes are continuing, so they're continuing to reform their policies and practices. and so on and so forth. But with regards to claims that we have destroyed information by shredding documents, those claims are not true. We took appropriate steps to preserve information relevant to the DFEH investigation. I suspect that will be determined by a court of law. That is the last of our regular news. It is time to wrap things up with our ever popular news speedrun. Start the music.
Pew, 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 pew.
I guess I'll start here. Netflix, they have started testing in Poland, at least, mobile games on their app. So
You think they
look for that.
started in Poland so they could get like people to fill out, like check a little box online, see how they felt about it?
Are you saying they
it's-
should have started
It's the
in
land
a
of
little
where they
box
take
It's-
polls.
Poland.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
check a little box.
Death Stranding sequel in negotiations.
That's right. Norman Reedus says he's involved in that.
May or may
here's
not be in
something-
Poland.
Yeah. Here's something that's kind of interesting. Blizzard is, I guess, in response to all of this other stuff that's going on, going to actually change the name for Overwatch's cowboy character Jesse McCree, who is named after someone who is naughty. And they've also said that they're going to be removing stuff from their other games that are named after real people because you just can never be sure.
Their policy is moving forward to not do that again.
Yeah, and they're
Duh,
actually,
they should've done that for the
as
beginning.
far as I understand, they're also taking stuff out of World of Warcraft wherever those references are. So
There's probably plenty of them.
They're going to delete like whole towns.
Fall Guys is getting a Disney's Jungle Book crossover event.
I think that's great. I've been playing this with my kids even recently. Fall Guy's still good. Jungle Book kind of weird, but yeah.
Dr. Disrespect. Haven't heard that name in a while. Anyway, he now knows why he was permabanned and is suing Twitch. No
Yep.
further info.
He says that he's making a lot less money over at YouTube. So
Oh well.
Okay.
EA opens quote pings and other accessibility patents.
you don't hear about stuff like that very often. I think that's
No.
cool of them. To be
That's
doing
great.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
that. So pings. If you remember Apex Legends, as far as I remember, it was the first game that really.
Pings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, without having to do so. The idea here is that they're doing this in the spirit of, hey, let's make games.
Wait a second. They're applying
accessible.
for patents for this stuff. That is not cool, actually.
I think
I think they
I
already
don't
have
see
the
problem with
patents.
that. Yeah. So they are
Showdown
basically.
has contextual pings.
So they're opening the.
Yeah.
patents?
So what's happening is they're granting developers access to 5 of its patents specifically relating to accessibility for games.
I see.
So there are patents that they already hold for, I think, credible, good things that they should have applied for patents.
So they got the patents,
It's
and
things
they're
like
opening
one
it.
of the patents is personalized sound technology, which aims to help players with hearing issues. There patents
Color,
used
probably
in some of their sports games that
color blinding
automatically
stuff,
detect and
probably, yeah.
modify colors and brightness and contrast in games to improve visibility. So different things like that help people with certain disabilities to be able to play the game a little easier.
Yep, exactly right. Good guy, EA. The Skate reboot is coming to PC. We know that for sure now, but we just don't know when that will be.
Cool. South Korea's 10-year-old, quote, gaming curfew law will end. This basically means that if you're less than 16 years old or younger, then you can't game after midnight
Yeah.
until
And there were
6
some-
o'clock in the morning.
There were some other problems that were caused by this, including it made Minecraft, which required sign-in on Microsoft's online service. It essentially made it an adults-only game because you had to be an adult in order to sign up for stuff like that. So there have been problems with it kind of from the very beginning. So
Well, more than 50% of Windows 11 testers say they plan to upgrade.
The
That's
other
cool.
50% don't even know they have Windows 10. Discord is hot as broadcast social media wanes, and it is looking for a $15 billion valuation, up from its original $7 billion, I guess, as it prepares to go public.
or to be sold to platforms. They were talking because remember Sony had bought into them.
Microsoft was looking
Wasn't
at it, right?
Microsoft
Yeah.
thinking about buying it?
Well,
Yeah.
the thing was, so Microsoft was looking, and then they're like, "Oh no, we're not looking anymore." And Sony was like, "Hey, we just bought a bunch of shares, or something." They bought in some.
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo buys it
Yeah.
and makes it so you have to have a unique Discord friend
Oh
code.
no! Oh,
Discord is
no.
good. I might buy some shares if it's Windows and IPS.
I just wish they'd
Yeah.
let us change who our moderator is on our server. Anyway,
Oculus Quest 2. I don't know. I jumped in, but I did. Oculus Quest 2 base model is going to double their storage and come with that new, not itchy face mask. Apparently.
Yeah. So the base model, I think, was 64 gigabytes of storage, and it's now going to be 128, and they're not charging anything more for it, which is cool. And then solving, I think, Dale's problem a little bit earlier on the show, we're going to wrap this up with a Skyrim mod, which is called No Skyrim, which purposely stops Skyrim from loading. That's all the mod does. Has been taken off. Yeah, that presumably it helps someone. But unfortunately, it has been no Skyrimmed, and it has been modified right off of the mod Nexus.
If you were some disgruntled wife who had a husband who played way too much Skyrim, or vice versa, not saying that females can also be in this camp.
She wouldn't know how to apply this mod.
If you found out about that mod, you could secretly install it, and it would solve your marital problems.
I think so.
Yep.
There we are.
It would solve them.
Providing services again.
They wouldn't know about it.
Folks,
Put that keylogger on the computer while you're at it.
Yeah. That is going to do it for all of our news this week and all of our Game Bytes Show podcast. Folks, I want to thank you very much for being with us all the way to the very end. Went a little long today, but we appreciate you being there with us. If you have any thoughts or comments about any of the news that we discussed, any of the video games that we've played, if you want to share what you've been doing in the world of video games with us, you can find us on social media. It's broadcast and it's waning, but you can tweet at us if you like. You can find us on social media at Game Bytes Show on Twitter. You can also broadcast out to us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont on Twitter.
You can find me at Legrand on Twitter as well.
I am at Count Elmdor, and I never stop waxing.
I'm at Red_I.
Very good. Of course, you can also find us at GameBytesShow.com, where there's a back catalog of all of our podcasts. YouTubers, those of you who are out there on YouTube watching us live, hello there. You can find us at youtube.com/GameBytesShow. Watch us as it goes down. The syndicated version of the podcast comes out a few days later on your podcast feed. Also, you can find us at our Discord server. That link is also over at GameBytesShow.com, where you can come and join us and interact with us on a day-to-day basis as we're just noodling around the internet or whatever it is that we're finding. And then, of course, we'll be back before too long. Next week, we'll be back to talk to you about the news and the new releases and the games that we've been playing and all kinds of good, edifying video game stuff. But until then, this has been your Game Bytes Show podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.